Welcome to the story. I hope that you enjoy it. Hopefully you will and we make you smile while listening. Be well. At 3:17 a.m., the night shift in St. Cuthbert's care home was enjoying the particular silence that only happens when the coffee has gone cold and the televisions in the rooms have finally stopped muttering. Nurse Elaine was at the desk doing a crossword and eating a biscuit she claimed was her last one, despite the open packet clearly suggesting otherwise. Down the corridor, room 12 beeped quietly. The heart monitor for Mr. Harold Pritchard, age 93, professional complainer. Former bus driver, and unofficial champion of bingo night, let out a long, gentle tone. Elaine sighed. Right then, Harold, she muttered, standing up. If you've gone, you've gone. She walked toward the room. Inside, however, Harold was discovering that death was not as straightforward as advertised. He sat upright in bed, sort of glowing faintly, which was new, and watched as the air beside the radiator shimmered. A tall figure stepped out of the shimmer. He had the body of a man, the head of a jackal, golden jewelry, and carried a staff. The figure looked around the room approvingly. Ah, he said. A quiet passing. Very dignified. Harold blinked. You're a dog. I am not a dog, the figure replied calmly. I am Anubis, guardian of the dead, weigher of hearts, guide to the afterlife. Harold nodded slowly. Right. Dog. Anubis opened a small scroll. Harold Pritchard. 93 years. 2 tax audits, 3 marriages. And an incident involving a parking cone and a municipal fountain. That cone attacked me first, Harold said. Before Anubis could reply, the temperature in the room dropped. A black mist curled in the corner. Through it stepped a tall skeleton in a hooded robe carrying a scythe. Oh. Harold raised a hand. Am I early for something? The skeleton adjusted his hood. You must be Harold Pritchard. That's me. The skeleton flipped open a small clipboard. Right. Collected at 317 by the Reaper Division. Routine transfer. Anubis lifted his scroll. I'm afraid that is incorrect. Mr. Pritchard's heart is scheduled for weighing in the Hall of Ma'at. The Grim Reaper looked annoyed. That's the Egyptian department. Yes. This is the Western European route. Anubis gestured politely. I arrived first. The Reaper tapped the clipboard. You're not even in the same mythology. Harold leaned back against the pillows. Is this a union dispute? The two entities ignored him. Anubis said, the man clearly lived under solar deities for a portion of his life. The Reaper squinted. He lived in Doncaster. Yes, but he watched documentaries. Harold pointed. I did watch one about pyramids. See, said Anubis. That does not count, said the Reaper. They stood in silence for a moment. Finally the Reaper sighed. Look, let's just do a quick check. He snapped his fingers. A floating tablet appeared. He scrolled. Anubis leaned in. Let me see. They both frowned. That's odd, said Anubis. That can't be right, said the Reaper. Harold scratched his head. Am I not dead properly? Technically, said the Reaper slowly, you are pending. Pending what? Administrative clarification. Harold groaned. I knew it. Even dying involves paperwork. Anubis looked thoughtful. We could simply weigh the heart and determine purity. The Reaper shook his skull. That's not how we do it. How do you do it? We escort the soul and let management sort it out. Your management? Yes. Who is that? The Reaper hesitated. Honestly? I'm not entirely sure. Harold laughed. Brilliant. I die and end up in a cosmic call center. Suddenly the bedroom door opened. Nurse Elaine walked in with a chart. She stopped. Looked at the bed. Looked at Harold. Looked at the 6-foot jackal god and the skeletal Reaper arguing beside him. She sighed. Oh, not again. The Reaper froze. Anubis tilted his head. Harold looked confused. You can see them? Of course I can, she said. She set the chart down. Right. Which one of you booked this collection? Anubis raised a hand slightly. I was assigned by the duat. The Reaper lifted his clipboard. I have him scheduled for standard reaping. Elaine rubbed her temples. Did either of you check the registry? They exchanged looks. There's a registry, said the Reaper. Elaine reached into her pocket and pulled out a small badge. It glowed softly. Both supernatural figures straightened immediately. The badge read, Afterlife Transition Authority. Senior Field Auditor. Anubis blinked. Your administration? Elaine nodded. Night Shift Supervisor for Cross-Pantheon Intake. Harold stared. You're telling me the afterlife is run like the council? More or less, she said. She picked up the floating tablet and scrolled. There's your problem. She turned the screen. Name, Harold Pritchard. Status, not deceased. Everyone went quiet. The Reaper slowly lowered his scythe. But the monitor flatlined. Elaine shrugged. That machine also says the vending machine sandwiches chicken. Doesn't make it true. Harold raised a finger. So, I'm not dead. Elaine checked his pulse. Nope. Anubis sighed. The Reaper scribbled something on the clipboard. False alarm. Harold looked annoyed. Hold on. I was halfway through a very interesting argument about my moral purity. Anubis rolled up his scroll. We'll be back eventually. Put the kettle on next time, the Reaper added. Elaine waved them toward the wall. Out you go. And file the near-death report properly this time. The two ancient embodiments of death shuffled awkwardly back into their respective portals. Before disappearing, the Reaper leaned out. Sorry about the confusion, Harold. Harold shrugged. Honestly, this has been the most excitement I've had since the bingo riot of '98. The room returned to normal. The heart monitor beeped cheerfully again. Elaine adjusted Harold's blanket. You gave them quite a scare. Harold smirked. Shame. I was curious where I'd end up. Elaine walked toward the door. Don't worry, she said casually. You'll find out. Harold nodded. Eventually. Elaine paused at the door, smiling slightly. Probably when my shift finishes. She turned off the light. And in the dim glow of the corridor, the badge in her pocket flickered again. Not Senior Field Auditor anymore. But something older. Chief Collector. Hopefully you enjoyed this little tale. If we can improve your entertainment, it's a job well done. Be well and tune in for the next story.